What's going on, brothers and sisters? Chris here from Namaste Gaming, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Try to Guess How Much Actual Stuff There Is to Do in this update. Yep, it's patch preview time, and this one's seeming big on quality of life improvements, but the amount of playable content is really anyone's guess. Of course, I won't let that stop me from speculating for your entertainment, and we do have a few clearly defined things to talk about, so let's get to it. So, the Queen's Jubilee patch is all about Queen Jenna and celebrating 10 years of her managing to avoid assassination and being lynched by the general public. Everything's sounding pretty chill, so I'm guessing we're going to get a couple of weeks of partying in, and then the next update, our boy Logan's going to have to step up to the plate to protect his shorty. Maybe we'll even get to see the return of the Molten Alliance, setting the stage for the COF revamp and all that good stuff. Anyway, let's talk about what's actually coming our way. First off, the quality of life stuff. We're getting an account wallet for dungeon tokens, coins, karma, laurels, commendations, fractal relics, badges, gems, and glory. Everyone's pretty stoked on the bank space and bag space ramifications of this, but let's come back to that and discuss something that I haven't heard many people mentioning. How awesome is it going to be to have all of your currency, especially karma, in one place? For those of you who have multiple 80s and have worked on a legendary, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, sweet, found a Temple of Balthazar that's open. I'll go buy 10 shards on my warrior, 6 on my ranger, and 9 on my elementalist. Oh wait, my elementalist doesn't have the waypoint. Guess I get to run to Oregon for the 6th time. Yeah, this is a nice improvement. Anyway, I get why people are going on about the bank space thing so much. I'm going to get about half a bank tab back, plus a bunch of bag space, and I honestly haven't even done about half the dungeons in the game. I saw a couple of people say they were going to get 2 whole bank tabs back because of this change. That's craziness. It's kind of like ArenaNet giving away free money, really. Great change, I can't complain about it personally, but I do always look forward to seeing how the more creatively entitled members of the community find an angle to hate on the stuff that I say that about. Don't worry though, those of you who love to hear my criticism of the game will have your moment before this video is done. Before we get there though, we've got some more good stuff. PvP solo queue is coming in the next patch, which means those of us who suck horribly at PvP can dip our feet into tournament-style play without getting curb-stomped by full teams of MLG pros. And they're even implementing a separate leaderboard for it, so you can see exactly how much worse you are than the Mesmer who just portaled across the map, kicked your ass, and got back home before his portal expired. Pretty cool idea and a good addition to the game in my opinion. I bet the expert PvPers among you are looking forward to having a nice little format to do some pub stomping as well. Bonus rewards for dungeons are now also a thing. This means the end of COF Path 1 farming most likely, but it means that you should be getting an actual measurable amount of gold for doing any dungeon, which we should probably be happy about as a community, but let's be honest, we're MMO gamers, and something that was comfortable and lucrative for us is getting nerfed, so we may as well save some time and bust out the pitchforks and torches now. In all seriousness though, this is a necessary change, and combined with the big dungeon revamp that Colin Johansson mentioned a couple of weeks back in his epic blog post, which I'll link it in the description in case you haven't seen it, this is going to be a big step forward for the game, at least on the PvE side of things. You get between 1 and 3 gold depending on how long and difficult. Almost said hard there, can't have 2 commentaries in a row with unintentional dick jokes, now can we? No. 1 to 3 gold depending on the length and difficulty of the dungeon. Let's word it like that. Once per account, per path, per day might be a bit too restrictive. I'd like to see them work it similarly to the way that tokens are rewarded instead, personally, but I'll wait until the dungeon revamp before I sling too much criticism their way. Champions are also getting a loot table update, with rare crafting materials and skill point awarding items dropping from them starting with the next patch. Right now, the best we'll be able to hope for are lodestones, but in the blog post, this was mentioned sort of in conjunction with the precursor crafting that's in development right now, so it may be a little more involved in the future. How badass would it be to have a checklist of champions you have to kill for materials for your legendary? That's way better than running COF 800 times for your precursor. ANET, please get us on some Monster Hunter inspired junk for crafting precursors. That would be beautiful. Told you I'd be speculating. Wrapping up the quality of life changes, we've got the improved effects level of detail system, aka the get rid of all the sparkly bullshit slider. I could honestly go on a 10-minute tangent about how overdue this is, but instead I'm just going to say thank you. I look forward to actually being able to see bosses and group events again. Now let's talk about the playable content. For starters, we've got Queen Jenna sending out hot air balloons to pick people up and transport them to Divinity's Reach for the party. I was cool with waypoints, personally, but if QJ's stacking enough paper that she can just afford to send out rides for everybody, hey, works for me. Anything that gives the ANET art team an excuse to flex their Jay Cutler-esque muscle is fine by me. Plus, you know there are going to be some achievements tied to taking a Balloon Rider 10, and who doesn't want more achievement chests? I don't know if I'd really call it content, to be honest, but it's definitely some nice flavor added to the world. Of course, it wouldn't be a festival without an opportunity to run around in circles pressing F, right? The Ignite the Beacons activity is a race around Divinity's Reach to light the beacons of Kryta. Now, I'm hoping it's closer to Sanctum Sprint than, say, the Pinata hunting from Dragon Bash, but the wording is pretty vague. This one's down to the execution really, so I'm just going to take a wait-and-see stance here. The next piece of content is the Crown Pavilion. It's described as an entirely new mini-zone, featuring mighty representations of humanity's enemies. By representing various cities of Tyria, you can be named champion of a nation and gain access to unique reward vendors. This seems like it might be the singular piece of group content we get this patch, and really it seems like candidate trials minus the plunderers. If I'm totally honest, unique reward vendors was enough to get me to be optimistic about it. More new skins, more new customization options. Seriously, keep it coming. Attach it to anything you want as long as it's not RNG, really. As far as the quality of the content, well, we'll see on the 6th, I guess. Could be a lot of fun if it's done right. Candidate Trials was awesome until they made Tier 4 only beatable by cheesing spawns, so hopefully this is more like Tier 2 and Tier 3 Candidate Trials in terms of challenge and reward. Finally, something for the solo players among us, the Queen's Gauntlet lets you engage in single combat with unique bosses, and judging by the line cheer on your friends or show off your skills to the world, there's going to be a spectator mode. On top of that, if you're a PvE legend, you can handicap yourself with special gambit conditions to make it more difficult. Yeah, I like this a lot. Honestly, this is the one piece of playable content coming in the next patch that I'm unconditionally excited for, because even if it goes pear-shaped in some way, 1v1ing bosses with a spectator mode and adjustable difficulty is one of the coolest ideas that's ever made it into a patch, so props for some unique and interesting content regardless of how it turns out. The minigame rotation system that was mentioned in the previous patch is also on the way, featuring Sanctum Sprint, Keg Brawl, Karka Griefing, and Crab Toss. I'd love to see Aspect Arena added in there at some point, because I found that really fun. I don't know about you guys. And if the Crown Pavilion and Queen's Gauntlet are good, hopefully they'll make the cut eventually as well. Right now, the only one I'm excited about having regular access to is Sanctum Sprint, but I'm sure as it expands, there will always be something cool to do. There's also some new runes and sigils coming our way, and of course a new set of weapon skins called the Sovereign set, which actually seem like they might not be gated behind RNG for a change. Yay, progress! Overall, while I'm skeptical about the amount of actual playable content we're getting, I am pretty stoked for the quality of life changes, and the Queen's Gauntlet sounds pretty badass, and it sounds like this patch is going to be deliciously RNG free, so far at least. It's worth noting that this is the first of 2 matches made from the second of the 4 content creation teams, so the past 2 releases were made by one team, this one and the one we'll be getting on August 20th are made by the second team, and then we get to see what the other 2 teams have been up to following that. Hopefully they've got a healthy sense of competition and they keep on setting the bar higher and higher, because that will mean good things for us as players. Anyone want to place bets on whether Team Jubilee's content is as good as Team Sanctum's? Hit me up in the comments with your thoughts about this upcoming patch and whether or not you think it can compete with the Bazaar of the Four Winds content. That's all I've got for you today. Just a quick reminder that we do have a growing guild over on the Isle of Janthir server. We have a bunch of awesome members so far, and we're always looking for more. There are no class, level, or skill requirements. All we ask is that you actively participate in our community, be it through chat, running dungeons, or doing World v World with other members. Treat people decently, generally don't be a dick, and you'll be cool with us. If you're looking for an invite, send in-game mail or a whisper to Rysalea or myself. She's usually faster, but that's only because I'm built for endurance, baby. Aw yeah. That's a wrap, folks. If you enjoyed it, feel free to express the love in your heart by clicking the like button, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Much love to each and every one of you. Stay black and beautiful.